Welcome back to our Bluesy Water channel. Today I'd like to go over a protocol for adding your customized supplements into your Healy resonance. First of all, you want to pick out your favorite supplements. There's two ways to add a supplement. One is just put it in pretty much straight up. You're recording the energy of the supplement and you're administering it as though you were taking the supplement. The other is to make a homeopathic uh, version of the supplement. So we're going to show you how to set up a template for a homeopathic approach where you can then go in and modify it. Now, anybody doing this, you need either to have a lot of experience in homeopathy or good dowsing or muscle testing skills. Okay, so here I am at the home page. So in order to add a supplement, you need to go through what's called the aura scan. Unfortunately, this is sort of the only option. I wish you could just make a database out of your favorite supplements. At this time you can't, maybe in the future you will. The best you can do now is essentially, this is a trick to assign your favorite remedies and supplements to one client. So we'll obviously start with oneself. So the way you do it is you go into aura analysis. And then you pick yourself, myself here, and you're going to record the aura. Okay? Then you're going to go to analysis. You're going to get rid of 2 out of the 3. You're going to end up getting rid of them all, but you need one to run the scan. So you do start analysis. Just go right to start analysis. That's my dog in the background, by the way. I'm treating her right now with my electrostatic vortex therapy. And she was able to jump up on the bed, which she hasn't done in a long while. So that's, by the way, new therapy we have a whole playlist on. Anyhow, so we do actions here. Now, first of all, we want to get rid of these 3. We're just going to make a customized database for this one remedy. So we go X, yes, X, yes, X, yes. Now you go to actions, add manually. And this is where you can add in your supplement or your remedy. So I'm going to add in an adrenal glandular. And, okay, you'll see it in a minute on the Healy. Now, in these 4 groups, depending on how you want to approach this, depending on how much you're aware of the supplement, let's say you've experienced, you've taken the supplement, you know its actions, you know where you start, you know where it takes you. So you really know it in and out. You can make just a very simple statement. So I'm going to do, thank you for rebalancing my adrenals and kidneys. So once again, if you want to, you can change this. By the way, we're going to show you how you can change this every time you pull it up. You can even change your statements depending on where you're at. Let's say you're in extreme adrenal exhaustion. You've had a really hard day. You feel at the worst of the worst of adrenal symptoms. There you might want to list inventory, adrenal burnout, and then present state description. You can put all your negative thoughts and your negative feelings, your physical sensations, and just list them briefly, like an inventory. Because you're really trying now to pull out of a state. And now your desired state is thank you for, and let's say you have your inventory. Let's say the top one is I'm burnt out. Thank you for desired state's description. Thank you for transforming burnout into deep rest and relaxation. So be creative with this. It can change it session to session. So right now I know what this action, I don't really need to put this all in lingo for me because I know what these supplements can do and I know what my meditations are. Okay, so now you go, by the way, background information would be if you have a client, you're trying to put more notes, and you're trying to, do keynotes, let's say, for that client. Relevance, since this is the only thing you're running, I keep it at 100%. Intensity, you can douse. Anyhow, for now, we're just going to stick with 10. It's just a straight supplement. I want it to go in and do its job. Potency. So we're going to do this two ways. The first round, and this is, by the way, a bug in the program of a sort. If I go select, if I were to select one of these homeopathics, let's say we'll just show you D3. I could never get out of the homeopathic selection. If I go back and I go to the, if I go out, there's no way to get back out. I'm stuck in the homeopathic. Now, if I want to make a non-homeopathic remedy of this adrenal glandular, can't do it. So we're stuck in the homeopathic. I'd either have to exit and start all over again. So let's do that. Actions, add manually. Just to show you. Once you go into the homeopathic selection, you can't go back here and just say, I'm not going homeopathic, I'm just doing regular. So, again, thank you. Adrenal symptoms. Okay, so you can, like I said, every time you come back and pull it up, you can modify anything you want in these fields and go moment to moment. We're going to set the intensity at 10. Once again, the relevance is 100%. If you had 10 things, running at once, the relevance can vary. The program will automatically say this is more relevant than this. But just as something manually you're creating, it's what you're focusing on, so it's 100% the focus. But not, see here, as long as we stay here, it's not going to go homeopathic. Once again, if I go out of this check in the blank, I'll never be able to get back to this blank state, non-homeopathic selection. We're going to add a symbol, we add an image, take the photo. Here it is, the adrenal glandular on the Healy. I figure, why not show them having a little party? And take the photo. Use the photo. You don't like it. Maybe it wasn't smiling. Take it again. Record the vibration. It's on the Healy already. Record. This is like when it records you. It's the auric field of the Healy. Remember, it's those other settings are not affecting they're not filtering into the supplement. It's simply inputting the vibration of that supplement. Those settings are output settings. Okay? We'll record it again, I guess. It didn't like its first picture. Okay. We go out, we check. We've now inputted everything. We say, yes, we're checking it. There it is. You could run it then and there, but just to be, safe, go out, go to lists, put in your name. You'll scroll down. There is the recent entry. This is obviously, here we just to show you, it's thank you for healing the adrenals. Okay, sorry. Then you're going to, this is an iPad, so swipe right, rename, and this is adrenal glandular. Adrenal glandular. Save. Great, so now, let's say you really have chronic 5 years of adrenal burnout, your endocrine glands, you get thyroid, adrenals, and you're going to want to probably add in a homeopathic version of this. This is where it's going to get interesting. We're going to learn a little bit about the homeopathic side of this program. We're going to go through the process again. Aura analysis. Record aura. Analysis. Uncheck 2 of the 3. Start analysis. Start analysis. Get rid of these so we have a clean slate. Okay. Now, actions. Add manually. Desired state. Thank you. This, by the way, comes from my Ho'oponopono practitioner training. One of the most profound words in life is thank you. It opens the doors. It's a door opening. No matter what state you're in, you can transmute. Thank you is the door opener. There's a Ho'oponopono language system I wanted to show you quick. Just a little sidebar. This is a Ho'oponopono prayer. Well, let's say you do have a lot of adrenal issues. Short prayer is just, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. These are key words for the subconscious. But to dialing in a little more specifically, these 5 statements. I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that might be contributing to my experience of adrenal burnout. I'm cleaning with my thoughts about, so this is where you would inventory, we'll go back to the healing and show you how this works. This is where you would inventory your thoughts. I'm cleaning with my experience of, these were like feelings, emotions, experiences, you inventory them. Then they have the statement, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that is not love. In other words, ultimately you want to be in a state of pure love. Why are you carrying this content at all? I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that may be contributing. Anything. Now the premise of all these statements, as you're turning this over to divinity, you and your mind cannot dissect this. You go to a doctor, they tell you this, they tell you that, but you're turning this over to there's so many factors that could be going on that could be causing your experience of adrenal burnout. So we're going to actually show you how this integrates with the homeopathic side of the Healy and why I'm very intrigued with the Healy. So if you want to use some of this language system, let's go back here to the Healy. Now, the thank you in general is sort of an opening the door to divinity to do its thing and to mind. It knows you better than, you can not figure this out. So the thank you is a very simple statement for healing adrenal system. Adrenals, okay? That's just a simple short form statement. But if you really are in the throes of it, you can go to the present state and do this Ho'oponopono layout. You can actually go, you can even write down, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything that's going on inside of me that may be, contributing to my experience of adrenal burnout. You can then list your inventory. Or you could just list your inventory here. I'm sorry, please, let's go back to the cleaning. I'm cleaning with my thoughts about, and you could list what's going on in your mind regarding, your adrenal burn. My thoughts about I don't have enough energy to go to work. My thoughts about I can't handle my family. You could literally use this as an opportunity to really do this Ho'oponopono practice. I'm cleaning with my experience of exhaustion. My experience of I want to cry, from not having energy. My experience of I just want to sleep. Whatever. You can actually use this language in your present state description, and you can put it Ho'oponopono inventory. Background information is really for a practitioner, by the way, who's going to make some keynote information. Then the desired state would be, thank you for having energy, thank you for having, not being so reactive, thank you for healing my state of exhaustion. The desired state could be even, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything that is not love. I'm sorry, please give me the generic statement for anything in me that may be contributing to my experience of. Notice how it opens and closes the same way. It opens for anything in me that may be contributing to my experience, so it's global. You're literally laying it out to divinity. I don't know what's causing all this stuff. You do. I'm turning it over, so I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything that's going on, and I'm turning it over to you because you really do know. You're assuming that divinity knows. Now you're turning this over to the superconscious, what some people call the higher self, which then turns it over to divinity. It's an intriguing, actual, very practical subconscious protocol. And it closes with, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything in me that may be contributing to my experience of this problem. Really the way it opens. It's like, okay, if I left anything out, let's cover it all. But here you're trying to lay out the best you can within your own little self, your experiences and your thoughts, as many pieces as you know. Then you're asking divinity to sort of scan all the unknown factors. Now this is where we're going to get into the Healy and the homeopathy side of it. Okay, so right now I keep it real short and simple because I already am doing the Hoʻoponopono on awareness almost in a instantaneous type scan practice. You can almost become autopilot on doing this. Alrighty, so we're going to set the intensity to 10. Now we want to make a homeopathic template. It doesn't matter what you pick, it's just a template really you're setting up. So let's just pick D1. And they're going to add a symbol, an image, take the same photo, here it is, just going to record this, use the photo, it's going to record the energy, the auric field of the adrenal glandular. These are high-end glandulas, by the way, from New Zealand. We've added it, we're keeping it. Now we're going back to the list. And we're renaming it adrenal glandular homeopathic. Homeopath, THIC. Homeopathic, okay. All right, so this is where it gets very interesting. We're going to go back in, and now you have your template. You can go in and edit. You can literally moment to moment change do the Ho'oponopono statements in the present state description. You can call it present state, adrenal burnout. Doesn't matter. But this is really the prayer where you can enter the prayer. Present state description could be just, I'm sorry, please forgive me for anything that's not love, or you can do any prayer you want that says where you want to end up being. What's really interesting about Ho'oponopono is you're really turning it over to divinity. You're not going to assume that you're going to figure this out, but you are praying. You are literally trying to get a transmutation, awakening from your divine nature to self-response. So you have to present your case. It's called a petition in Ho'oponopono. So keep the desired state. I like thank you for healing adrenals. This is an assumption of transformation. Thank you for being in a state of grace and love. And by the way, once in a while you get there where everything balances out, where grace, you become the grace. So keep it simple on terms of the desired state, keep it prayerful. If you're really good at positive imagery and you really believe in that, you can use sort of the, what do they call that, the secret approach. But a lot of times just be aware, is this spiritual or is it a projection of your mind? Are you just doing NLP where you're not really deeply pulling out the roots of the problem? You're just sort of putting a nice ice cream cake on your existing problem. This is the issue that, can be debated in terms of consciousness work. So I like the turnover to divinity because you're asking divinity to really reach in there and look at every nook and cranny of consciousness, not just yours, but your ancestors. Alrighty, so now here's where it does get interesting. So you have this problem, you have adrenal burnout. Now, the belief is that the only way to succeed in terms of just finding reasonable happiness in life is that you have to outgun. But this is not good for the adrenal system. But here is this background of sorrow, of trauma, of oppression. So now you feel like you've got to have power and be in control. But let's say you start to realize that the adrenal system is telling you, you got to relax, you got to let go. This is what it's simply instructing you to do. You're still up against all these other people around you and all your ancestors, let's say, who say you got to fight your way out, you got to battle, you got to struggle. And if that programming is in you, you have a choice to make. Are you going to clean that programming and find a relationship with divinity? And divinity isn't concerned with ego and power. Divinity is concerned with the highest level equanimity. Are you going to choose that as your path? Well, in order to get to that path, and this is so powerful about Ho'oponopono, you're going to need to look at a lot of programming that's muttering inside of you and ask divinity to help you purify that programming and instruct that programming. There is another way. There is another way. The programming is absolutely convinced this is the only way. Now, if that programming, this you're driving yourself, you burnt yourself out because you're just working super hard, you're working long hours, and you think that's the only option, and it's broken down your body, that's in the D homeopathic remedies, that's mainly physical. When you get to the C remedies, it's more mental, emotional. Let's say you have low self-esteem, you don't think you're ever good enough, you're not making enough money, whatever it is. You're always angry, you're always sad, you're very emotional. Now you're going to go into more of the C remedies. The LM remedies are you're really aware that this is spiritually based, that you know, you really sense this ancestral suffering. This can be both the reality that you're aware of it or the reality that it's actually what's affecting you. Now, and it's always a spiritual basis. That's why when the Healy runs, let's say 3 scans on one chakra, a lot of times it'll have a mix of spiritual, physical, emotional. Now the potencies in homeopathy, so let's say it's mental, emotional, around the 6, 8, 12, this is something you can run many times a day. It's low potency and you can repeat it often. When you get up to like 100, 200, once a day, 200 maybe once every couple of days, this is actually 1,000, it's not 1.00. The 1,000 potencies are very strong. You run maybe once a month, once a week. So you have to understand homeopathic potencies in general. But here's where it gets interesting and ties into the Ho'oponopono. Let's say it's mental, emotional mainly. You're really falling apart. You're ready to go to a mental institution. If it's more general karma, in other words, you feel it's a heavy, straightforward karma issue, that's the E6, 1E6. That means it's mental, emotional with a karmic influence. That's my dog. She's having karmic dog stuff going on. She's being treated, by the way, on the electrovortex therapy, which is also, speaking of karma, works on what's called these closed loop formations. You can check out my playlist. This is like a little commercial. Actually, that therapy is very akin to me, or very compatible with the Healy. Anyhow, the karmic is the 1E6. Parental, you've had a lot of stuff with your parents, and you're mentally, emotionally a mess. You feel like, oh, I'm just like my mother, I'm just like my father. All you can think about is your abuse. 1E12. 1E24 is your grandparents. So now you know it's going back. You can really go into the root system. 1E36 is all pretty much the whole ancestral tree, and that is Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is saying it really does go back to the entire ancestral tree. And here's the kicker: you're cleaning. You're not straightening out yourself, really. You're straightening out an entire way of thinking, being, an entire energetic state of your whole ancestral tree. You're shifting the matrix. So this is very fascinating. So in all these remedies, you've got a lot of physical breakdown. Let's say you have cancer, and you really sense that it's really deep multi-generational, so you might run D1E36. If you have a lot of, you feel like this is coming, it's deep, I can never get rid of it, it's been with me my whole life. That's more like a spiritual thing. It's like just working inside of you. That would be, again, the LMs. Now, if you feel, now the beauty of running this, and this is where it gets interesting, if you're good at dowsing or doing muscle testing, and you already have a sense of where you're going, you literally just say, okay, is it D? Do I need to do D, C, LM? And you dial in right away with yes and no with the pendulum. Then you ask, you can first of all say, is it the top of the list, the bottom of the list? Sorry, is it the top of the list, the bottom? Let's say we're in LM, and you could get your pendulum out and say, is it the first half or the last half? Or you could just simply say, do I need to do regular potencies, or do I need to go into the 1Es? Anyhow, you can narrow down very quickly with dowsing skills. So now, within this each session, you pick out what you feel, let's say I think it's karmic. So I select one LM 1E6, I have already imprinted the symbols in there, so I'm only modifying what homeopathic remedy I'm deciding to run. You can change anything in here, and like I said, you can even do your Hoʻoponopono statement of inventory and present state description if you feel like doing that. You can do that silently in your prayer state, and you can do your Hoʻoponopono gratitude transformational statement there. Then you just simply save it, and then you pick you douse or choose your time, vibrate, transmission, pick your time and run it. So next time so let's say you run it, you're done. Next time you go in, you're in your list again. Adrenal, glandular. You'll go in, it's going to save the last setting you had. If you've made statements, it'll be in there. You could just simply, let's say you feel you don't want to make any statements, you can just modify this and edit this any way you want, and pick the proper homeopathic treatment for that next session. This is just a template. You modify it, you save it. You have to always save it before you run it. Remember that. That template will show up the next time. You modify it again, save it, run it. Okay, so once again, on the list, we have a straightforward adrenal glandular, just as though you were taking it, and then we have a homeopathic. Again, I want to emphasize, the reason, when you feel it's got multidimensional, which is true pretty much for everyone, but if it's long-term, homeopathy will help dig in deeper and really help to resolve real heavy-duty chronic states. And then you can do the ordinary glandular both. Like, this is like taking the supplement, and this is like, okay, we really got to get deeper in the root system. What's interesting about the homeopathic with the Healy is now you can say, well, it's adrenal burnout, and it's causative to karma, it's causative to my parents, it's causative to my grandparents. It's more spiritual causative this way. In other words, this is very fascinating. Or you can go, well, it's really, I'm getting whacked physically. I think the roots are more parental, grandparental, multi-generational, or just straight out karma. Karma, by the way, now could include a past life issue. And if you're doing spiritual work and you're able to do some tracking on roots of suffering, we do that type of work, then you can actually learn how to tune into some heavy-duty roots. But this is going to help with the root system of, karmas are really, really, probably in our book, one of the key players in all disease and suffering. Hard to access, and here you're actually going into this very amazing subconscious field of data and being able to start to tap in and get to some of this data. So the subconscious is fascinating. Alrighty, so this is basically how to do it. If you have any, we have some other tools that are, like I said, simpatico to the Healy, and obviously, if you, let's say, have major physical issues, we have some heavy-duty programs that are highly alchemic, highly energetic, And we sort of explain how all our tools work and what they're for. So just to give you an example, if you have a lot of inflammation, let's say autoimmune inflammation, an incredible therapy for microcellular anti-inflammatory therapy is molecular hydrogen therapy. It's able to go deep into the cells, knock out inflammation, and support a global healing of the body. If you have a lot of infection, let's say, we have something called medical ozone therapy, and this, which I was just treating my dog with, the electrostatic vortex therapy. So that's incredible for microbes. So if you're trying to work multidynamically, please give us a call and we can teach you how to integrate the Healy with these other therapies. Thank you. If you have any questions, please contact me, andrew@blueseawater.com, and we'll be happy to go over a more in-depth protocol and how to integrate your Healy into your overall practices. Thank you. Take care.